In this chapter, we're going to talk about how to receive parts against a purchase order. And in our previous chapter, we talked about how to do that in ordering, adding parts, creating a purchase order. Now we're going to do the part that's connected to receiving against the purchase order. In our following chapter, we'll have a separate process to show you how to receive without a PO. So make sure that you stick with the next chapter as well. All right, to get to the receiving page, if you have the correct permissions from the parts and accessories module, you'll see the receiving tile. You can click that here. That'll take us to the receiving page. As a note, and we'll just demonstrate that here, in DX1, only one user can be receiving or ordering per vendor. And right now I have the parts ordering page open. A lot of times people just leave the pages open. So this is an instance where somebody did, but I need to receive parts. And the reason we do this, which will be talked about in the next video, is because when receiving without a PO, we actually allow you to move some parts around if you need, and this is what's required to make sure that everybody stays in sync. So if this happens to you, in this case, I can say yes. I'll be taking over this session, and on the other screen, whether it be you or a different user, it's going to let them know that their session's been overridden. When that closes, you can stay on the page, but it'll be as a read only at this point. In order to get this page active again, you'd have to refresh it and take over the session back from a different user. So communicating in the dealership is not a bad idea when you have people working on the same vendor. Okay, so for receiving without a PO, this is a really simple process. I went and I found the vendor. I can search by a PO number. I can search by a part number if I want to. I do recommend using a first in, first out type of process, meaning you should fulfill the oldest PO for a particular part. A customer should get the part before a stocking order does, things like that, but we'll leave that up to you. In the case of just receiving the part, it's pretty easy. I can come in here and I can click a quantity of one received for that one, and I can tab, arrow, press enter, click away on my mouse. I can also come down and enter my quantity there. Had the parts been back ordered, I could have put 0 for received and put received back order 1. I could have done that. If the parts were canceled, I could have put a canceled for 1, and that will update the status. To remove a part, from this screen, the only way you can do it is by canceling it or receiving it properly. So if I had this part on a PO and they canceled it and I knew I wasn't going to get it, I could put cancel, and when we'll do that here in this process in a second here, it will remove from the screen when I receive parts. So if the part isn't back ordered or comes off back ordered and the part shows back up, I can change the back order quantity to 0 and put it received 1. Okay, so in our situation now, we have a basic PO. We placed it, one stock part, one special order part. In this case, for demonstration, we're going to receive one and cancel one because they only had one left. So after I've entered in all my numbers here, if I click on the fields, I can see some information related down here about the parts that are being received. I could see if, in this case, with the special order, a little bit more of the special order information, who it's for, where it needs to go. I can also receive these same grids down here. Some people like to receive via here. So just kind of keep in mind if you want to receive down here versus using the grid, you can do that. You can also convert items to bulk or serial right from this screen. We've talked about this in previous parts chapters. So if you're unfamiliar with what a bulk or split item is, make sure to catch that chapter. And same thing with a serialized item. But the point is, you could serialize or convert this to bulk right from that screen. In this case, again, it's normal. I'm receiving one for a customer, wanted one for stock. They ran out, so I'm going to cancel it. I go ahead and hit my receive PO button. Here's where I'm going to go ahead and enter in my invoice number that came off the printed invoice that they sent me. Depending on if you use labels in the dealership, you can decide to keep this box checked or not. For this demo, we will, just for the sake of demoing it. I can also go in and enter bin locations for the stock, or in this case, this is a customer, so I could say, SO1, maybe something like that, bin numbers 1, 2, 3 for stock. Either way, you can update the bin records here, and you can go ahead and hit save. And at that point, what's going to happen is it's going to give us our invoice printout, which we can print out and staple to the original invoice if we want. We can go ahead and cancel if we don't print. We can see here too that because we had parts, and in this case we use some labels, I can print those from right here. I can update the quantity if I want, change the description, Once I get it how I set, I can hit print. It's going to ask me what kind I want. If you use thermal labels or Avery, you'll have the drop down here. In this case, I'm going to say Avery 3 column. What type of label? Well, I know this is for a special order part, so I can decide what things are going to show on the label. Maybe I don't want to show the receive date. I don't want to show the dealership name for some reason. You can configure this the way you want. Hit print. It opens up in the PDF. You'd hit print here, fire off your printer, and then it's just going to confirm, did your special order labels print correctly? I'll say yes, and we're rocking and rolling. So that's just a little bit of the process of how to take a standard part that's tied to a PO and receive against it. In our next video, we're going to talk about how to receive parts without a PO. And I do want to mention that if you were receiving on that last PO and somehow you got a part that wasn't on a PO, or they shipped you an extra part that was added later, you could have clicked add part. It would have asked you to find the open PO number. You would have searched it. It would have displayed it here. You'd enter your additional part, hit save, and then it would add it to the grid for you. And you could have added parts to your existing PO. So again, that's how to receive a part with a PO. We talked about how to back order parts, cancel parts if we need, which were removed from the screen. As you notice here, the only items that we have left are the back ordered parts that we have there. And in that case, just to demonstrate again, once they come off a back order, we would get a 0. We could then come in and receive the part, hit receive PO, enter our invoice number. In this case, I'm not going to print labels, so I could uncheck that if I want, hit save, and again, I have now updated the process, and you can see I have no more Kawasaki parts in my grid. So hopefully this helps you if you do parts receiving on the basics of how to receive parts that are attached to a PO.